What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the JusTalks podcast. I'm Justin Neely. Co-hosting with me is my good friend Jason.
What up?
And today, our special guest from the DMV area, current Great Dane, my man, Zane Adnan. Thanks for joining us, man.
What's up? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, I think the first thing we have to talk about is kind of crazy. It would be the 76ers. They're considering moving to New Jersey. Makes no sense. I mean, the Nets moved for a reason, one. Two, Philly's Philly. Philly's such a good sports fan base because of Philly. They're not going to...
Philly fans are insane.
Why would you move to Jersey?
Yeah.
You know, Jersey fans or New York or fans of the... Mostly fans of the Nets. But there's some Knicks fans here and there. But there's no... 76ers fan base isn't in New Jersey. It's in PA.
Yeah, well, you know, they've been trying to get some approvals for a new arena in Philadelphia. But, you know, their contract's coming up. You know, it's about to end with their current one, Wells Fargo. And... you know, they have their practice facilities in New Jersey, actually, where they're looking to put, you know, the new arena that they're building. But, you know, I don't think it'll be the same as it is if it was in Philly. So,
yeah, no, it definitely wouldn't. And you always hear about stuff like this, especially with like teams like even like the Commanders and stuff like that. They used to have their stadium in, you know, Washington, D.C., RFK, and they moved it out to Virginia, bad location, and they wanted to move it even further. No, they moved it out to Maryland, and they wanted to move even further to Virginia. And it's like, it seems like teams are just taking like the stadium and location out from the actual city and just moving it elsewhere.
yeah, I think that affects the culture.
I agree.
You got,
100%.
you know, Philly fans are diehard Philly fans, I can tell you. And, you know, going all out now, having to drive over to Jersey, you know, it's not too far, but still, it's, you know, same effect.
It's also so good for the city, seeing, you know, game days, just a bunch of people in the city. It's good for all the businesses in the city, so it just doesn't make sense, especially New Jersey. Yeah, no hate on New Jersey, but
Yeah, it doesn't
don't
make
too much
sense. I think a big part of it is their owner, Michael Rubin, wants to be in Jersey because of how close it is to the city, and you know he's a business guy first. So I think it's more of a business venture. Plus, with the Wells Fargo, it's interesting because they pay rent. You know, it's not owned. It's them and the Flyers. It's you know the Flyers residency, which is surprising that kind of situation happens. So we don't know what's going to happen with that because, for example, a great example is MetLife. MetLife's owned by the Giants and the Jets. Right. They both have their ownership in it. So one's not paying rent to the other. But the fact that this is different, it makes sense why they don't want to really be there anymore. But I think they're just staying in Philly because they're the best fans of the world for a reason. They're the worst and the best for the same reason.
yeah.
Now we're talking about a former Sixer here. Charles Barkley said that he's very upset with the way WNBA players are treating Caitlin Clark, with her being, you know, the greatest player in women's history for what she's bringing to the game. I mean, it's similar to like what Michael Jordan did for basketball. You can't really compare.
Yeah, I mean, she's done so much for the WNBA, though. Like, she brought millions of viewership just coming from college immediately to her rookie year. Her and Angel Reese both, you know. But you see more scrutiny and hate on Caitlin Clark. But she's broken records, you know. Most assists in the season, countless rookie accolades. And, you know, she's a great player and will be a great player, so.
Yeah, I mean, it says a lot when you go from having your teams ride those just like regular planes to like charters and all that stuff. I mean, she has a crazy impact. And what was the viewership last year for the finals, the NCAA championship? It was like just the same as the men's, if not maybe even more. Yeah. So like, and that's just because of her too.
Yeah, I remember seeing an all-star voting too. Like the increase was like hundreds of thousands of people voting for the WNBA All-Star this year. When years prior, you know, it didn't get as much attention as it should have been getting. But, you know, thanks to her, she increased the game. She's raising the level of the WNBA. So,
I mean, even here too, when they were playing in the MVP arena, like the hype around just trying to get to the MVP arena and watching her play was like crazy. Like if it was just, you know, regular women's college basketball, I mean, there would still be hype around it for sure, but just not the same. You have people talking about like, yo, let's go get food somewhere and watch Caitlin Clark play, stuff like that. Like, she's a big time deal for sure.
Yeah, and that game in specific, it was just two powerhouses going at each other. You always have to credit LSU. they're all around team. Besides South Carolina, they're probably the second one up there, or UConn. Flau'jae Johnson, and they have, obviously Angel Reese at that point, and HVL. So those are all superstars in their own right, and just seeing them battle, like I couldn't believe this, but I ended up like that ticket cost me more than it would to see the men's in the Sweet 16. Which I wouldn't think that ever happened. That I would never thought I'd pay more for that, just because it wasn't talked about as much, and that's I paid $300. Like, that sounds crazy. Yeah. You wouldn't think that would happen, but it did. And I just think it's these veterans are used to criticizing these rookies and giving the rookie treatment, because that's kind of what happens when you first get into the league.
Especially before she even got drafted. There was a lot of negative comments about her game, prior to her even getting drafted into the WNBA, saying that, it won't apply. The shots that she takes isn't going to be the same like how she did in college. But I mean, it looks the same. She's launching.
And that never made sense to me, because look at Curry, bro. Like, he's pulling it from the parking lot. Like, why wouldn't that translate for Caitlin Clark?
Yeah, especially she's been doing her whole career. Like, it's not like she just started doing this last 10 games and she's on a little hot streak. Like, no, she's really been doing this for a long time. So
in their defense, though, it's never happened. You had Sabrina, but Sabrina was, a decent off the ball mover. Caitlin Clark can't move off the ball. That's why she makes those crazy shots. Same with Curry. Curry's not the greatest off the ball mover. But if he has to shoot it from almost half court, he will. Like, we've seen that happen, and there's a reason for that. So De'Aaron Fox is releasing a shoe under Curry's Under Armour. Now, the thing that's interesting about this is we were talking about the first podcast with Cooper Flagg on New Balance. It was big because there's no face of New Balance, and he can be that. The thing about Under Armour is Curry's, the face. So it's an interesting move to me. At that point, I feel like I would have just done something with like the big names like Nike or Adidas.
Yeah. He's the first signature athlete for, Curry's brand Under Armour, excuse me. And, I remember I was watching, some videos of Curry on the podcast talking about how he goes to see who's got his shoes on, and he sees De'Aaron Fox rocking like shoes that he didn't even introduce yet, that, he hasn't worn. So just to see the love that he showed to him, I think that's awesome. And shout out to De'Aaron Fox. I'm sure he, get his own signature shoe and got, a good bag for it too.
I mean, I think this is a great move for Under Armour in general, though, because they've lost so many signature athletes like Joel Embiid to Skechers. How you gonna lose Joel Embiid to Skechers, bro? Yeah. But I mean, Under Armour's, I know they're losing like a lot of money, I'm pretty sure. So I mean, they're kind of on their last leg, and the only thing they really have going for them right now is Curry. So, I mean, this is what they have to do.
They had to give him his own brand.
No, literally. I mean, that's their Jordan. That's Under Armour's Jordan. So they have to milk it. I mean, especially because he's getting older and stuff like that, and he's probably not going to play too much longer. Yeah. It's about time they have another athlete come up under him as De'Aaron Fox. So, I mean, I would say it's past due to have another.
And a good choice in De'Aaron Fox. Great choice in him.
Yeah.
We've seen you wear the Currys before as an Under Armour brand with UAlbany. Will we ever see anybody wear any of the De'Aaron Fox shoes that comes out with Curry's line?
If it comes out soon.
I was about to say, if it comes out in time.
So being a sophomore, you have plenty of time to, when the shoes come out, to be able to rock them. So that'll be, so you definitely have plenty of time there. Now, very fortunate news in the NFL, Ricky Pearsall was shot in the chest. Now, it's so hard to hear. I don't know if you've heard, but it was after an autograph signing. It's like, it's so sad to realize you're doing something, for the community, and then that just happens for a Rolex. It's kind of concerning to me because, one, where is security? Because that shouldn't happen. Two, I mean, this guy's from Florida, and Florida to me is way more dangerous than San Francisco, where all the tech is. I mean, I know there's bad areas, like Oakland's not too far, and Oakland's considered one of the worst sports towns, but it's just, you never want to see this with a rookie first round pick. It's tough to see. It's good seeing how he's recovered. He's out of the hospital, and I'm hope he's on the PUP list, so he's gonna be out for the first 4 weeks, but hopefully he can recover soon.
Yeah, it's just like you said, it's just super unfortunate that happened, especially after autograph signing. You're doing something to give back to the community. People look up to you, and then something crazy to happen like that. But I'm glad he's doing much better, and hope he has a great year.
What's even more sad is I'm pretty sure a teenager shot him too. And in the hearing or whatever, in the court date or whatever, he was like, I'm super sorry and all that stuff. But to see a teenager do something that drastic, it's like, it's just sad. It's a sad story overall.
Yeah, I think the more I think about it, the more I feel like teenagers are just desensitized. I think they don't really know what they're doing in the moment. The amount of times we've seen teenagers have shootings recently is absurd. It seems like every time I see a shooting, it's a teenager, and it sucks because their life's gone. You know, and you know, I guarantee they all would take it back because, you know, time is something that you just don't want to give up. I mean, you know,
especially your whole life.
Yeah, definitely. I mean,
your whole life.
Yeah.
And I mean, we were all teenagers at one point, so we all know how it is when you just, you know, act erratically and stuff like that. So you can't fully blame him, but like at the same time you do, because he knows better. But it's just sad. Like, no, where are the parents? Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? Yeah. It's just sad to see that stuff.
And to me, I think the saddest part of it is it was for money. It was for greed. Like to really need a Rolex that bad, to me, is just heartbreaking because nobody needs a Rolex. Let's be honest here. It's not, you know, it's not like he was trying to provide for his family or he needed something. He didn't need something. He wanted something, and that was enough to shoot someone. I will never be able to comprehend, but I mean, that's probably why I'm not in jail. But yeah, I mean, this also brings up a good point. I mean, you know, what happened in the hockey world when Johnny Gaudreau was unfortunately ran over by a drunk driver.
Yeah, that was sad. I saw that.
Which is crazy that guy only got 10 years per person, which I think is absurd. Yeah. Because, you know, Johnny's family was going to be set forever, but now his brother, he was an AHL player, so he was never, he never got that NHL salary. So his family, it's going to be hard for them to actually provide now as a single mother. And it's kind of hard to tell her, hey, you have to find somebody else when her husband just died. Yeah. You know, so I think I wish, you know, some like situations, like I like how they're handling this situation where he's really going to get a decent sentence, but it's said that some situations like drunk driving, they really do not give adequate sentences, because to me, 20 years for killing 2 people is insane. No, definitely. It doesn't make sense to me, and hopefully that gets fixed out because, I mean, you know, with Ricky Pearsall, thankfully he's alive, but those 2 guys aren't with us anymore. And, you know, the guy who ran him over will be out at like 50 or 60 years old. So he has still 30, 40 years of life, you know, and it sucks taking away 2 30-year-olds. Now, this segment, I'm very excited to talk about. Mike McDaniel was extended till 2028. I hate the move. I hate this move.
You hate the move?
What has he done? We lost the first round. You can't extend a coach if we can't win a playoff game.
I mean, the Dolphins haven't won a playoff game since 2000. It's been a long drought.
Yes, but with the talent,
playoff appearances and his time there. I mean,
but the age-old question is, if you don't have him, who else are you going to get? Who's going to be better than Mike McDaniels? Because the offense he runs is absolutely explosive through the first 2-3 years, whatever it's been. So I fully agree with that move. I think he's he's earned it,
and
I think he's absolutely
a player's coach.
Yeah,
you know, we talked about on the last podcast his relationship with Tua and how, you know, he supports him and makes him feels like he belongs and wants to play for him. You know, we got the cheetah Odell now. You know, he has some talent on the roster.
Odell's not doing anything. Stop that. He's not doing anything.
It's still Odell, brother.
Yeah, he's not doing anything. He's a little washed. Still a little too many injuries.
So
a lot of weapons for sure.
My problem with that is what you're saying with the weapons that he has. I mean, the Dolphins on paper have top 3 offense regardless of their coaching situation.
Right.
And the point I'm trying to make here is his contract wasn't up. Honestly, if his contract was up, I'd re-sign him. But I think, you know, him having years left on his contract, you should let it play out to see what he can do, because I hate to say it, but let's say this season we don't win a playoff game again. It seems like we're not progressing because, you know, this team is the best offense team I've seen in my lifetime. And with that being said, it's very insane how we're struggling to be at a team with a winning record, and that's always been the flaw of the Dolphins. And we beat the Cowboys, yes, in Miami, but I don't remember the last time we beat an away team with a winning record, and that should say a lot because we have the most explosive offense in the NFL. Arguably, the 49ers are the one that come close. So I think the playoffs we made before last year against the Bills, we should have won that game. Josh Allen played awful, and it was in McDaniel's hands, but he's very bad game day manager. We ended up losing the game because of 2 delay of game calls. On the last drive of the game, there's no reason to get to back-to-back delay of games. If you're the coach of an NFL team, that play should be out, ready to go. And the fact that wasn't, done is concerning. I mean, if you can't manage game day decisions, then there's a problem there. And I think, with the Bills, obviously we had a third-string quarterback in Skylar Thompson playing, but the game was in reach within 1 score. Our defense had 2 to 3 defensive touchdowns, which is impressive enough. And to not finish that off was really disappointing.
So you don't believe in him this season?
It's not that I don't believe in him this season. It's just that I want to see it happen. There's a big difference between believing in someone and then actually seeing it done. Like I said, all I'm asking for is a playoff win. I don't think it's a lot to ask. This would be his 3rd time going to the playoffs, and all I want is 1 win.
Well, it's still fresh though. I mean, it's still a very fresh situation right now. I mean, year 1, that was the first year. I was like, okay, the Dolphins are actually not bad. Year 2, last year, they've proven that like they're actually pretty good regular season wise, and just give it some time to get over that hump and see if they could actually get over that hump. But
he has a winning record right now with the Dolphins, 20-14. So it's not like he's, getting cooked.
No, I understand that, but I think a lot of coaches would have a winning record with this team. I don't think it's a hard team to coach.
And the team is still somewhat young though too. Jalen Waddle's just entering his prime. Devon Achane going into his 2nd year. You guys re-signed Jalen Wright, the running back, I believe.
Well, we drafted him.
Drafted him. Yeah. So he's a rookie.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I mean, you have 3 explosive running backs. I mean, still a very young, fresh team.
At what week will you start believing?
Like I believe in him. I just need a playoff win. Because put it this way, I understand we lost to Mahomes, one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time, maybe the best at the end of it. But my problem with it, we got blown out by it wasn't even close. The game was over in the first quarter, and that's my concern is. I don't expect, even honestly, if that game was close, I'd understand the extension. But you can't be getting blown out in the playoffs. I mean, with this team, and last year our team was a lot better defensively than it is this season. It seemed like, we were, and not even just that game. I mean, we were banged up. We lost Bradley Chubb, we lost Jalen Phillips. And it just seemed like the last few games, we just didn't do anything. It seemed, once Tyreek had that minor injury that everything just fell off a cliff. We got blown out by the Ravens, and I was at that game very brutal.
You seem to be at a lot of losing games. The Suns, the Ravens, it's just hurt.
Well, in defense, that's the only Dolphin game I went that they lost. They won every other game 1-2. Now, what I will say, I'm a little disappointed in your DMV community because that might be the most hated I've ever seen fans at me. It was insane. Like I saw 8-year-old kids like doing gun noises at me. It was like, I'm like, you're 8. And
I just want to clarify, cursing. I'm a Steelers fan, so I absolutely hate the Baltimore Ravens.
Love to hear that because Steelers and Penguins fans are a lot nicer than Ravens fans. It's insane.
I hate Ravens fans.
They're awful.
Gosh.
I mean,
oh my gosh.
That was the worst experience I've ever been to a game. I mean, close was New England. They tried to throw my camera in the field. It was insane. They're just not used to losing. I think that was the problem. So they said, stop taking pictures. I'm like, no. They said, all right, let's get that camera out of there. It was pretty crazy. But, Ravens, it was, I just couldn't take it. It's crazy how, same with Philly. It's one thing to be, wanting your team to win and being excited for, and there's another thing just being mean and just being hateful.
Oh,
and it just it gets to a point where it's too much, especially when your team's losing. You want to hear all this, So it was tough. It was tough getting back home that day. But I would love a rematch between the Ravens and the Dolphins. I would love it in the playoffs. I hate to say it. Lamar has had poor playoff success. He's had a losing record. I think it's 2-4. He got blown out by the Patriots with Brady. He lost to the Titans. And it just seems, obviously last year you can't blame him because it's Mahomes. That's the only pass you get. But, and plus Zay Flowers lost him the game. Let's be honest here. Sorry, DeMar, Boston College legend.
Florida kid as well.
Florida kid as well. But it just seems like, being a 2-time MVP, you would expect Lamar to have, made it to the Super Bowl at least once. I mean, Mahomes seems like he could do it every year.
That's the common denominator. Everybody's saying the same thing about Josh Allen, but it's that guy Patrick Mahomes that just keeps.
I have the same problem with Josh Allen. Yeah. Josh Allen, I also think is a playoff fraud. It seems like regular season, Allen's going to do whatever he can. But like I said, he almost lost to a third-string quarterback in Miami. That shouldn't be possible. Let's be honest here. Skylar Thompson should not be a drive away and bad game day decisions from beating Josh Allen and the Bills. And the Bills have had a great team for years. I mean, they've owned the AFC East since Brady left. So, I mean, they had that 1 year with Mac Jones making the wild card. But besides that, they've been the only team, in the AFC East that really has been making playoff success. And I think that's a problem in Josh Allen's game because I understand Mahomes is in your division, but you're really going to lose that guy every year. Joe Burrow did it the one time, he hit a play and great.
So speaking of Mahomes and Lamar Jackson, week 1, who you got?
See,
Chiefs have the spread by 3.
Yes, they are the favorite. Now, I'm going to slightly give this to the Ravens. One, Lamar is arguably and Josh Allen some of the greatest regular season quarterbacks you'll ever see. Mahomes gets in that gear in the playoffs. It's kind of like what we see with LeBron. LeBron's not the greatest regular season basketball player, but in the playoffs, you'll see it happen. Absolutely. Now, the thing about the Chiefs is they're also banged up. Hollywood Brown is out this week, and he's a major receiver in that offense. Xavier Worthy, their first-round pick this year, has tweaked his hamstring. He's healthy, but he's coming off a hamstring injury, which any football player will tell you, hamstring injuries are the worst.
Yeah, because it's recurring.
They linger.
Yeah. So I think, he has Kelsey, of course, Rice, which is remarkable. He's not suspended from everything he's done off the field. It just seems like I think it's going to be growing pains from Mahomes. But if this was a playoff game, 100% Chiefs. I think the Ravens do squeak this out.
I mean, he did it last year with what receivers? Rashee Rice as a rookie, Kadarius Toney couldn't catch.
It's insane how that game ended.
He figures it out, but I agree with that. It's week 1. All these every team in the NFL has, week 1, they all come out very explosive. All the offenses come out very explosive. It's not many defensive games in week 1. So I wouldn't be surprised if it's a high scoring game and B, anything could happen in this game if I'm being honest. I'm
going with Lamar, Florida boy.
Yeah.
Let's get it done.
Yeah, you always got to support Florida guys.
Always.
But one thing I also want to say on this is I also think it means a lot more to Lamar than Mahomes.
Absolutely.
If he loses this game, he's sleeping fine tonight. If Lamar loses to Mahomes again, it's going to be brutal, especially because this is what, like I said, my critique on him was, and what everybody's critique is on him and Allen is, can't be Mahomes. There's a problem there. I mean, as dominant as Brady was, he still lost playoff games. It seems Mahomes, is on his way every year. I mean, literally the only year that he didn't make it was when Joe Burrow beat him, and Joe Burrow has never been healthy. He's always hurt. Unfortunately, he was out last season. He was out his rookie year. So 2021 was really his year that he was able to show everybody, and he did it. So it's possible. It just seems like, the talent what these teams have, now the Ravens have Derrick Henry also, which is a great addition for this game.
Great addition.
And, they have Zay Flowers, and it just seems like, and Mark Andrews is healthy again, who was hurt last year. Yeah. There's no excuse. There's no excuse for these teams to not finally beat Mahomes. No, nobody's perfect. As great as Brady was, he wasn't perfect. He lost games. He lost to back up Nick Foles in the Super Bowl. He lost to overrated Eli Manning twice. So there's a lot. There's room for error, and I need to see these quarterbacks do it if they want to be great. Now, this next headline is very concerning to me. It was about how Diggs was in his worst mental health state his last season with the Bills. I kind of just straight up would say it. I just don't like Diggs. It just seems like
that's a Gaithersburg boy too, right there.
Yeah.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, no, yeah.
He went to University of Maryland. He's probably the greatest receiver they ever had. Because I always talk about games I went to. I went to Maryland once. Awful stadium, but
Yeah, it's not the best.
It's
college
so
football
old. It's so old.
Yeah.
But I will say everybody there had a Diggs jersey on. There was not one other jersey I saw there. So we did change the culture there. You know, and obviously I'm going to have to give shout out to Talia Tagovailoa, their quarterback for 4 years. He was awesome. You know, now he's playing in the CFL. Hopefully he gets a shot in the NFL. But the big thing I hate about Diggs, it's always about him, it seems like. It seems like, you know, because like, I hate when players are like, I wish I had the ball more when they're winning. That's the problem.
Yeah.
He was having success as well, you know, through, I believe, 8 games. He almost had 800 yards, you know, to start the season off. So he was having a lot of success, you know.
See, that's what is, and it's especially concerning now because he's not going to be the number one receiver in Houston. They have Nico Collins, who is easily Stroud's number one guy. And the scary thing, Tank Dell was Stroud's pick. Stroud told the Texans to draft Tank Dell.
Yeah, it's a very crowded offense.
Yes.
In Houston,
so there's no way he's going to get the share he had in Buffalo.
I think he's going to be out of there after the season. Well, you see what they did with his contract. You know,
Yes,
they renegotiated for a 1 year. So, you know, I think he'll probably end up somewhere else after this season.
Yeah.
But I think as we saw with Odell in his last year with the Giants, sometimes a player can be more destructive than they can help with what happened with Odell. Is you need strong mental players, and the problem is if Diggs isn't going to be strong mentally, it could destroy that offense, and it's going to be a big problem because, like I said, he's arguably the number 2 or number 3 receiver, probably the number 2, and I cannot see Diggs being okay with being a number 2. I mean, he wasn't okay with being a number 1 in Buffalo because it wasn't a true number 1, which is crazy to me. You know that you can win, you know, all these games. I mean, the Bills were the most impressive second half team last season. You know, there was a time where they shouldn't have made the playoffs and they won straight. You know, and to still see him have problems, I think sometimes players, no matter what they want, are gonna get problems because they just want too much. It's just not possible to accommodate when your demands are that high. All right, now huge shout out to Justin, Miami guy.
Come on.
Cam Ward, number 1 guy in college football, Heisman favorite.
Mr. Nonchalant. Mr. Nonchalant.
Miami dominated Florida in the last game, 41-17, 385 yards, 3 touchdowns from Cam Ward. And he was casual the entire time. Casual, not, you know, the environment didn't shake him. He said he's played in bigger places.
And that's so disrespectful because they say Gainesville's like one of the hardest places to play. So.
Yeah, the swamp.
Especially a Miami versus Florida game, which sold out a month and a half before the game was even, like, it started. Then it's crazy. But shout out to Cam Ward.
Dog.
Miami college football playoff. Heard it here first. National champions.
All right, now we're going a little too far.
I hate to say it's possible. I mean, I love that Miami team. You know, the first thing I did when I got that college football game was play with Miami because they're just such a fun team to play with. And you know they have great receivers. You know, obviously Cam Ward's a beast, great defensive team.
Yeah,
it's
explosive on both ends of the ball, offense and defense. Xavier Restrepo, amazing receiver, been there for a while.
He's
they
superstar.
Got the 9th year tight end.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy that he's still eligible.
Maui Goa, middle linebacker for us. Ruben Bain. You know, he actually got injured in the second quarter of the game against Florida, but man, he's a dog. He's a dog. Top 10 pick.
Some of those throws from that Florida game, insane.
Oh,
crossbody,
the sidearm, baseball slinging it.
Just cold rope to the back of the end zone, fitting in between 2 defenders. Crazy. I was very impressed. I wasn't familiar with your game, Cam Ward.
Definitely, yeah. Josh Neely must be having the time of his life right now.
He graduated.
No, but I'm saying you're seeing his team succeed. Listen, I mean, let's be honest here. Once you graduate, you're never gonna stop watching the team.
Yeah, you're gonna be.
So he must have the time of his life right now, seeing what his team is doing.
My dad's living it up right now. My dad played at the University of Miami in the 90s.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he played.
Wow, so that's a very rooted Canes family.
My mother went to school there too.
Really? Wow.
This is over here.
So yeah, it extends to you at this point. This must be the greatest moment for your whole family at this point.
Okay, relax.
I mean, college football wise, because I do think this is the closest they've ever been. Yes, I don't know if you guys remember Brad Kaye. That was probably their closest they've been.
Of course.
When it comes to how successful they've been in recent years.
Yeah.
But I think this team's way better. And that team and Brad Kaye's Miami
top
was almost playoff bound. I mean, they were
they were good.
They were really good. And yeah, I think this season, I mean, like I think they definitely should make the college football playoffs. And I mean, they could win the championship. Cam Ward has done so much, and Washington State, horrible defensive team. He showed he could put up 50 points a week if he has to.
Oh, yeah.
He can score any drive. He's a great dual threat quarterback. There's really nothing missing in his game. And of course, he goes down. We got Reese Poppenberg coming out. Albany legend, ready to finish it if he has to.
Yeah, his backup's ready to go.
Yeah, he's got backups ready to go. Yeah, but I love this Miami team, and I can't say that they didn't change any minds of those Florida recruits at that game. I mean,
they definitely did.
It seems like
college football is better when Miami's good too.
Of course. I mean,
they're so historic. It's kind of sad to see them going downhill the past few years, but it's nice to see them resurging.
They used to be a powerhouse when Frank Gore went there, Ray Lewis.
Absolutely.
But it seems like after the early 2000s, they were late 90s, they really weren't able to get back to that.
It's been constant coaching rotation over there. Every 3-4 years is a new coach. So trying to figure it out. But I think Mario Cristobal is doing a great job so far. And, go Canes.
I will say a very underrated thing about Mario is the city loves him.
Oh, yeah. Got his back all the way.
He wasn't very successful.
Funny story. He actually went to school with my dad.
Really?
My dad got plenty of stories.
Wow, that's funny. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, you guys are all caned out. Caniacs, but it's cool. It's cool. I mean, I've always loved the Canes, and it's finally good to see them have their time. And like I said, Mario, has to be one of the most loved coaches I've ever seen. I mean, the only thing that could even touch him in Miami is probably Spoelstra.
Oh, Coach Spo really,
Pat
Riley, that's a different conversation.
But I mean, besides them, obviously all-time legends, Mario's up there. I mean, he has root connections with the culture in Miami.
Absolutely.
I don't know if you're aware of the Big O, but the Big O is a huge Mario Cristobal fan, and he's like the main podcaster in that city. So everybody he rocks around is going to kind of imitate that, support him.
And that's what you want from the community as well. You want the community to back you. So.
This is insane. Shaq commented that Rudy Gobert is the worst NBA player of all time. I don't think I have to even say why he's not. I think that's kind of obvious. I don't understand. I don't really get it. It might be the politics around.
He didn't mean it. He definitely didn't mean it. Like,
he might be
literally
trolling.
He's trolling. He probably doesn't like Rudy Gobert. Maybe he probably thinks he's overrated. Like we all kind of do.
4-time defensive player of the year.
Yeah, I mean,
come on.
Probably the worst for multiple defensive player of the years.
Yeah,
ever.
I mean, offensively it's 4-on-5, but he's a good shot blocker, rebounder.
Oh, he's still a very good player, but overrated for sure. Just sounds like Shaq has something out for him.
I think it's just Shaq thinks he would have dominated.
Yeah,
Gobert, so
that's probably it. He's probably how does this guy have 4D poise? Yeah. I would give him buckets. That's probably what's going through his mind every night when he watches him.
I really do feel bad though for Rudy Gobert because he didn't do anything wrong. I mean,
it's constant though. This is the first time he brought up Rudy Gobert. There's plenty of times he talks about him on the TNT show.
Yeah, but it's just like I mean, Rudy Gobert being a fan of the game said himself, like that's not what you want to hear. He's a huge fan of Shaq, and it's tough hearing these things. Shaq is always and Barkley both. Have been known to speak their mind. They don't really care what anybody else has to say about it, and also. With what you're saying about him being overrated, Derek Lively said on his podcast he shouldn't have been playing when he was playing in that in the playoffs. It just
Derek Lively said he shouldn't have been.
Yeah, he said that.
I agree with that. I think Nas Reed should have been.
Yeah, that's what
I think. There's a lot of people that should have been playing over Rudy Gobert, especially like matchup wise. I think Rudy Gobert was kind of more of a problem in
he can't
those late
guard.
stretches. That's what I'm saying.
He can't guard like isolation.
I think Nas Reed had much more of an impact on the floor.
And of course, offensively, they're fine, and they have Cat. They don't really need.
Yeah, exactly.
Ant-Man. So
I meant as a bigger guy. Yeah. Because it's always good having your guards, but it's always good to have offensive player as good as Cat as a bigger guy when you don't have that with Gobert. So that Derek Lively's an NBA player. I can't. If he says he shouldn't be out there, I have to assume he's right because he knows the game more than I do and how it's played. Because
he did a great job though in their playoff run.
Yeah,
tremendous job.
Yeah, Lively. Yeah.
Oh, not as good as Jaden McDaniels, obviously. Actually, very impressed with how he matched up with KD.
Yeah,
very
He's
impressed.
Incredibly.
Yes, and the thing about Ant, I mean, he said it himself. You know, you got KD, we got Jaden McDaniels.
Yeah.
Famous quote. It aged perfectly.
Absolutely.
Because when that Sun series wouldn't be even close as easy as it was without Jaden McDaniels. He went off from three. Yeah. It was insane how electrifying he was. And I honestly wasn't familiar with his game until that happened.
Yeah.
He developed.
And I think the biggest problem about Rudy Gobert on offense, though, is the fact that he cannot space the floor. Like you put Naz Reid in the game, you put Jaden McDaniels in the game, you put Cat in the game, you could space the floor for guys like Anthony Edwards, your star player, to do what he does best.
Rudy Gobert is clogging the paint.
Yeah, clogging it. You put him out, absolutely clogging it. So that's probably why Derek Lively said he shouldn't be playing, because it just didn't make sense just for that team.
Yeah, I mean, I really do love the Timberwolves this season. I really think they can make a finals run.
I hope they do.
Yeah.
I really hope they
they're
do.
Against the Miami Heat.
Beat the Celtics, buddy. Beat the Celtics.
The silence is crazy. Let's go. Bam Adebayo. I think I brought up the Heat in every show.
Dude, yeah. I mean, it's insane how much you love the Heat. I mean, no one's going to forget when you put Bam Adebayo above Jalen Brunson. Yeah, no one's ever going to forget that. Obviously, yes, he was on the USA
team, won a gold medal.
I think it's pretty obvious what position's more abundant in America.
And I hear it. But Bam can shoot threes now, so.
Could shoot through now, but I mean.
Bam's low-key a big guard.
Yeah.
If they want to play him as they just haven't tapped into that potential yet. But he is low-key a big guard.
Bam's at the 4 now. That's all I'm going to say.
I mean, and also you had Jimmy Butler at 1 and Curry at 5. So that's don't trust this guy's list.
We're not going to talk about the Curry at 5. We're going to ignore that.
Yeah. All right. So the first player we're going to talk about, the King of Hill. You know what? We just talked about him now. We'll do Jaden McDaniels versus Naz Reid. I think this is an easy one.
Naz Reid.
I was going to say Naz Reid at first.
Big jelly. Come on, man.
I think I'm overthinking it. Yeah, I think Naz Reid by a hair, though. I think Jaden McDaniels.
Physical.
Yeah.
Jaden McDaniels has game, though.
He has a potential. He definitely has a potential to,
Yeah, but I'm putting Naz Reid.
Okay, Naz Reid. Now we have Naz Reid going against Paolo Banchero.
But yeah, Paolo. Yeah, Paolo's he's a force.
Underrated too.
I'm very curious.
He doesn't get the credit he deserves. Paolo, he's an all-star. He's going to be all-star. He was an all-star last year.
Yeah, he was all-star.
Yeah. He's
brought the magic back.
He's legit.
Yeah, definitely.
4th or 5th seed last season.
I'm curious in this next one. It's Paolo Banchero versus Cade Cunningham, legend of Montverde. Cade and them.
Cade and them.
That team.
Got Cade and them.
That team was insane, by the way. But go ahead.
I'll go Paolo.
What's the
over Cade and them?
I'm sorry. I don't watch Detroit Pistons games, so I can't say I watched
Detroit Pistons game.
I've watched too much Cade Cunningham. I know he's good.
Nah, he's different, bro, and he's dominated. I want to say Cade, but I'll go Paolo.
It's a tough call. Honestly, I probably would have started.
I feel like his impact's more than Cade, even though Cade's at the 1 and scoring and assisting. But I think Paolo's just a force.
They're both very impactful.
But in a 1-on-1, come on.
1-on-1, you have Paolo?
Yeah, all day.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
Dude,
I think
he's like a legit 6'9".
Yeah,
solid, big.
Cade makes everybody around him as good as they can, though. I mean, there's problems. Obviously, he's not the problem in Detroit. But when you have no talent backing you up, I mean, at least we have Wagner and there's other talent in Orlando, which we haven't seen in a while, but it's there. There's nothing in Detroit, and that's just unfortunate. I'm a huge Jaden Ivey fan, but it just seems
Jalen Duran really good.
Yeah, but it just seems like there's no chemistry. And as good of a player you are, if you have no chemistry, nothing's gonna get done.
Yeah.
All right, so we have Paolo Banchero making it to round 3. Now we're going to do Paolo Banchero versus Jalen Brunson.
Jalen Brunson.
In a 1-on-1?
This is a one-on-one.
No, it's not. It's overall. Yeah, I should have made that clear before because one-on-one's just going to be too biased because it's positional.
Yeah, fair enough.
But just player overall,
yeah,
give me Jalen Brunson. Absolutely.
Jacob shaking his head like he agrees. Good. Come say your.
Because I gotta come on here. Let me get on the mic. Paolo Banchero cannot carry his team like Jalen Brunson can. I'm sorry.
And that's fair.
If you look at like the playoffs and where they went, I mean, I think Jalen is a better player in that sense.
With like 4 or 5 guys getting hurt, just guys falling like flies. Jalen Brunson was still doing his thing, willing his team all the way to where they went.
I also don't know how many games Jalen Brunson was fully healthy for. It seemed like he was banged up the entire season. I mean, he had black eyes every game.
No, literally,
he was taking a beating. He also got the greatest draw foul in like the NBA.
Oh, yeah. All right, we'll go with Jalen Brunson. Just from Jacob's cameo, I think. I think he had a fair point.
Now, this is going to be tough. I mean, I'm very curious what we're going to say here because obviously now we're getting the superstars of superstars. I got Jalen Brunson versus D-Book.
I know who you're picking, but
that's a tough one.
Jalen Brunson.
Really?
Don't have to think about it.
That's very interesting. Remember, he didn't make Team USA. Just letting you know.
Don't do that.
He didn't make the reserves. Derek White got him over him.
Well, that's
position. Yeah, it's because of defense.
Yeah. Brunson's not guarded like that.
I might have to go with D-Book.
There we go. Love to see it.
I've gained a lot of respect for D-Book, especially over this Olympics.
Great player. Can guard, score.
I think his defense is underrated though too. I think when people talk about players in general, they don't give credit towards the defensive end as much as people should. Like it's a two-way game. It's offense and defense. And I think D-Book is a very underrated, high-level defender that he doesn't get credit for.
Absolutely. But like my good friend Jacob said, Jalen Brunson on his back.
No. But he is, I mean, let's compare it, tit for tat. He's not as good a defender as Book is.
No.
That's clear.
No.
He's not as good of a three-point shooter as Book is.
Right.
Book started as a shooter.
No,
Book's a shooter.
D-Book is a better shooter for sure.
You think Brunson?
3-point shooter.
Highly questionable.
Jalen Brunson's
I'm going to question it.
Jalen Brunson's a good shooter.
Better shooter than Devin Booker. Devin Booker is a shooter. That's what he is.
I'm not saying
that was his role in the Olympics too. It was catch and shoot, and he shot 40 whatever percent.
I'm not saying he isn't. I just like Jalen Brunson.
So we're talking 3-point contest. You're taking Jalen Brunson over Devin Booker.
In a 3-point contest, absolutely.
That's crazy.
See,
that's crazy.
Money on the line, absolutely.
That's crazy.
Do you not realize Devin Booker broke the record when he won the 3-point contest?
That's cool.
He was so good at 3-point contests, he stopped attending. Who's that good?
Jalen Brunson today. Not going to break the 3-point record, so not worried about that.
Well, he's not. He doesn't. There's no reason for him. He's that good. He just doesn't want to participate.
You sound like a fan to me.
No, it's not even that. It's he won the trophy. There's no reason to go back. We see players do this every time. There's players don't care about winning Curry obviously would beat Devin Booker in a 3-point contest. No offense, D-Book, but there's no reason for Curry to do it.
He already did it, yeah, for sure. And I hear that, but you just said 3-point contest, Jalen Brunson.
Well, I want to revisit though. You said Jalen Brunson put the team on his back.
Definitely.
The Suns went to the finals. Yeah, they had CP3, but I mean, D-Book is...
That's a good point. No KD at that point.
I think D-Book had more help than the Brunson Knicks.
I will say they were healthier. That's a fair case. They did have talent, obviously. Mikal Bridges, D-Book. He sucks. DeAndre Ayton is a bum. I hate Nurkic. Jacob can tell you that.
That finals run with the Phoenix Suns.
DeAndre Ayton was very solid.
Very solid.
No. Yes. All right. We can say he had a decent finals run.
How decent that he made the finals? Come on.
But the point I'm trying to make here is he's a very soft center because the amount of times, as tall as he is, gets out rebounded. You're
going against Giannis.
No. All right. This is what I want to explain to you. Obviously, he looks good on paper, looks good in the game because he's good offensively, right? But he's not a good defensive center, not even close. He's, obviously Giannis is great, but Giannis is on the guy. I mean, there was times where I would be, watching the game, and if I saw Giannis had the ball, I'd be like, all right, it's 2 points. But obviously
you can't get mad at that though. Giannis, it's Giannis. But he was the best player in the world at that time.
Yeah.
But I mean, all right, how's he doing in Portland?
Fair. Who's in Portland?
You watching the Portland games? How do you?
Yeah, like
Do you know how well he's doing in
I love
Portland?
watching Portland games.
D-Book isn't there. CP3, come on, like yeah.
I would hate to say we didn't struggle against Portland this season, but we did. But we did. We beat Portland. But what I will say, like I'm just saying, my problem with centers, and I see it happen too much, is just when they get bullied. Some centers get bullied. I think that was Aiden's problem, and that's why I was happy to leave because Nurkic is way better at rebounding. Nurkic may be fraudulent on the offensive side of it.
No, he's a force on the glass.
Yeah, but he's like if we're comparing him to DeAndre Ayton, Aiden's the better offensive player. Yeah. But defense, center's main job is rebounding. So if you have a rebounding problem, I don't care how good Aiden does offensively. If you have a rebounding problem, you're not going to be my center because it just, with the Suns in that finals, if they would have, still lost rebounding to Giannis, because Giannis, if we would have made it closer, you could have had that finals win. But we don't have to talk about it longer. I mean, you guys haven't agreed on an answer yet.
Oh, what was it, Brunson or Book? We'll go with Book, man. We'll go with Book.
I was about to say I'm gonna stick by D-Book.
I'll be a nice guy.
I'm a big Jalen Brunson fan, but I'm gonna stick by D-Book.
You're the special guest. We'll go.
You're also the most biased person I've ever seen sometimes. Saying Brunson is a better shooter is outrageous.
I said he'd beat him in a 3-point contest.
Well, Jason's a tiebreaker. Jason, D-Book, or Jalen Brunson?
It's Devin Booker.
Yeah, all right.
I don't think it's that close. Well, I think it's different, right? I think it's different. I think if you said who makes their team better, it's Brunson.
Absolutely.
But if you're saying tit for tat, who's the better player, it's D-Book. Yeah. I mean, D-Book's arguably the best guard in the league. It's him or Ant.
I got Ant over D-Book.
No, but I'm saying it.
Okay.
When you're top two, it's you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what, 2 guard, like shooting guard? Okay,
it's either him or Ant that's best in the league.
That. Yeah, but so Jalen Brunson's one of the best point guards in the league.
It's not the best.
One of the best. You didn't say D-Book was the best.
Do you think Brunson's top 2?
Top 2?
There's a lot more better point guards than shooting guards, though. That's the only thing.
Yeah,
which is crazy. It used to not be like that. Yeah. I think
like Luka's considered a point guard. Like, come on.
Oh, we talked about that last time.
Yeah, Kyrie at the 2. Yeah, like Kyrie's a 2.
Kyrie's in that conversation on the top 2. I don't think it's set.
But Kyrie's you know what? All right, first time doing it on the move. This better. All right, honestly, I don't care where you go in this direction. D-Book or Kyrie?
Kyrie.
Yeah, Kyrie.
I think so too.
Okay.
I think Kyrie.
Okay.
Honestly,
I was gonna be concerned if you said D-Book.
Kyrie, I think is on the borderline right now. Call me crazy, Hall of Famer. I really think he's on that
absolutely
borderline.
Should be a Hall of Famer.
I think he should absolutely be a Hall of Famer.
His influence on the game is incredible.
The guy's just cold.
Yeah,
he's just plain and simple. He's just cold.
It's just the problem about how many years has he actually really played, because he's always had like these issues, injuries. Like same with KD. It's you don't see them available as much as you wish you did. True. I mean,
KD's on the back end of his career now.
But that's what's even worse is Kyrie's not even as old as KD is, and he's still having those injury problems.
True.
KD before, in my opinion, before that Achilles Hall of Fame already.
Yeah.
So that's the problem with Kyrie is, he got hurt at a bad time in his career. That's really when you want to see things happen. Yeah. But like I said, if he can win a finals with the Mavs, he's a Hall of Famer, 100%.
Yeah.
All right, now the last one. All right, so now we have Kyrie. Now, all right, I can't make this too easy for you, so I'm gonna do. It's Kyrie Irving versus Jaylen Brown.
Jaylen Brown. Like I said before, basketball is a two-sided game. Jaylen Brown is a dog on defense.
Best player in the.
I feel like I think Jaylen Brown wins that one, but Kyrie can guard.
Yeah. He's an underrated defender.
Yeah, he's definitely a capable defender.
Yeah, definitely a capable defender, but Jaylen Brown gets it done on both ends, and he shut the haters up this past year. I mean,
didn't make the Olympic team, but
also didn't make top 10 in 2K, which is pretty crazy.
It's crazy.
I can't believe people think Tatum's better than Brown. I think it's absurd.
I was just about to say that. I think, if anything, at the least, they're even. If anything, at the least.
Tatum doesn't do enough defensively to really get that.
Well,
if you have Tatum and no Brown, there's no chance they make the finals.
No.
But if you have Brown and no Tatum, you could still make the finals.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jason Tatum was like low-key more role player in that finals run. He low-key became a very good role player.
He's a good
he was,
Robin,
yeah,
man.
Yeah,
Good Robin.
he was definitely the Robin in that finals run.
So we're going with Jaylen Brown over Kyrie. I think honestly, I thought you guys were going to go Kyrie, but
It's tough as of right now, though. I mean,
yeah,
Kyrie in his prime. Give me Kyrie in his prime.
Why?
I mean, he's not in his prime. No, he's still in his prime. Let me take that back. He's still in his prime for sure.
Jacob said he's shaky. He said Kyrie's a little shaky. I don't know.
Not from the three ball. He's still one of the greatest 3-point shooters in the league. If you say Brunson's better than Kyrie, I don't know what to tell you.
I don't know, maybe a little recency bias, but right now, give me Jaylen Brown.
Okay. Yeah.
Right
no,
now.
I think it's
Right
fair to
now,
have
give me
recency
Jaylen
bias
Brown.
because he won a
Yeah.
championship. I honestly think
And Kyrie kind of struggled in the finals a little bit.
I
for
think,
sure.
yeah, I think,
Especially in Boston. He did not do his thing in Boston.
yeah, I think if we see Kyrie win the finals next season, I think you're going to change your answer and put Kyrie over Jaylen Brown. I think it's hard to not put the greatest player in the finals, not in this King of the Hill winner. So first King of the Hill winner we have is Jaylen Brown. Congratulations. He's watching this. Congrats. I hope you know,
Got your back,
it means a lot here because we don't let answers slide.
Yeah.
You know, if he has his heat biases, we'll let him know.
If you had any Heat player on there, no, I'm joking. I'm gonna be real.
All right, now we have our famous blind ranking segment. We're doing positional here. We're doing point guards. First one I'll give you today. I mean, man of the hour, Kyrie Irving.
I mean, we're starting off hot.
It's shooting guards. You're saying we're doing a point?
Well, see, this is the
Kyrie used to be a point guard.
No. This is how I play the game
Combo
because Aaron really made me think about this. I'm going by height. I'm not going by where they play because we're not doing Bron at point. We're not doing, it's just gonna be ridiculous. Because,
What was that Nuggets team when they had everybody was like 6'9" or above?
Yeah, but that's
Bobo playing the two.
But I feel like if you're playing this game, you have to go by height because then point guards will never end.
I agree with
so
that.
Kyrie to me is a true point guard that plays shooting guard.
Okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. So Kyrie first.
Number 2.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Is that how many point guards better than Kyrie? Okay.
I like number 2, but I'm afraid he's gonna pull out a big name.
No, the next
starting with
one's very
Kyrie.
good. The next one's very good.
I like Kyrie at number 2 though.
Kyrie,
Yeah.
Next we have another guy who can't stay healthy, Jamal Murray.
4, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I like Jamal
Wow.
Murray.
4.
I think there's better guards than him.
Thing is, Jamal Murray is not the greatest regular season player. He only turns it on what appears to be against the Lakers.
Honestly, I can put him at.
He's a good playoff
right
player for sure, but I mean, he's still not an all-star. He still hasn't made the all-star game,
Yeah.
which is
Honestly, I low-key would put him at 5.
this is tough because we have no clue who's coming next. I mean, we could put him at 5.
Put him at 5. Yeah, we're gonna take a risk.
Yeah,
here.
let's
We're
take
gonna
the risk. Yeah. Could either look really smart or really dumb.
That's all right, bro. On the first one, I had Curry at 5. So yeah, I was.
No, you're not.
Yeah, I was cooked.
The next one I have, honestly, huge fan of his game is Tyrese Maxey.
3.
Okay.
3.
I like that.
He's getting better.
I like that.
I can't believe that dude, there's. I'm naming 5 random point guards, and we have Kyrie and Maxey at 2 and 3.
Yeah.
How has none of them made one? There's very few guards that can get that one spot. Next, we're going with a very sad story with how this guy's career went up is Isaiah Thomas.
4.
Yeah, it's so sad.
Yeah.
The guy was an MVP caliber player in Boston. And I really think that's where when you're a smaller player, it really hurts.
Oh yeah,
how you're able to play because I mean, guy's lights out shooting. Guy, has pretty good handles.
And especially what he had to go through during that playoffs.
Yeah,
with his sister dying, all that stuff.
Oh, it was awful.
Oh my gosh.
Gave everything he had.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love
that. That shit gives me the
chills.
chills.
So we have him. We have him above Jamal Murray. Love to see it. Now. We have 2, 3, and 4, and 5. So this will be your number 1 guy.
Gotta give me a good name.
Come on.
Honestly, it could be. Honestly, it's good. It's Curry.
Come on, I had a feeling that Curry was coming. Yeah.
I did Curry twice at 5. See if you learned. You learned your lesson. Yeah. Congratulations.
Easily. Yeah.
Everybody clap it up for Justin here.
Just for that reason, I saved the number 1. I had it.
Honestly, it's really a good list. If you just switched Jamal Murray and Isaiah Thomas, I think that's perfect.
I mean, Isaiah Thomas is low-key throwing me off because he's like the only non-current player. If you if you're talking Isaiah Thomas,
he's still current here. He's a contract with Phoenix.
Yeah, but he's. I mean, it's not Isaiah Thomas.
It's not Isaiah Thomas that I know.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is,
if we're doing prime Isaiah Thomas, I'd switch Tyrese and Isaiah Thomas, and it'd be a perfect list.
Really?
Yeah, I don't feel
Isaiah Thomas
hasn't been in the league long.
Yeah, I mean, Tyrese is still young. I mean, Tyrese definitely has a potential.
He's a 1-year wonder, Isaiah Thomas. Like he had that one MVP year, but he didn't really have longevity. And I think Tyrese Maxey has been a star for at least 2 seasons. So I don't know. I would give it to Maxey still.
Also playing with Joel.
Joel's a fraud. We already discussed this in the podcast.
A fraud.
An exact quote from Aaron Reddish himself. Tyrese does as much for 76ers as Joel Embiid does. Exact quote.
That's a hot take.
Yeah,
he said it himself. Well, he also said that Embiid should be a 91 overall, which I think is also a hot take there.
All right, 91's too low.
No, at least
if you go straight skill, Joel Embiid's top 5.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, he's one of the best bigs in the league.
Yeah. I mean, sure. It's just
and he made the
mental side of it of Joel Embiid. I think that's where he starts to not be great.
Which is also surprising because he's a Philly guy. Reddish, born in PA, not too far. So it was surprising to hear all of his hatred for Embiid, but honestly,
classic Philly fans right there, though.
Yeah, it's funny.
The job done. You hate their own players.
We've seen that from players all the time in Philly, where they're like, "It sucks playing here because if you're good, they love you, but if you mess up, it's going to be tough getting home because you're scared on your home right back." So
you're going to get death threats for sure.
We've seen multiple players from Philly get it, and so definitely we're going to hear Philly stories, depending on the Eagles do this season. We're definitely going to hear something happen in Philly, so stay tuned for that. But honestly, I'm going to give you a 4 to 5. I mean, it really is a good list. I'm very impressed with how you did it. Stayed poised, one for last, worth it. It could backfire, you never know. But that's it.
Thank you, everybody, for tuning in to another episode of Just Talks podcast. See you next time.